podcast.
Ian Ashbee, good evening.
Good evening.
What do you think of that then? I mean, does that send sort of shivers down your spine as much as it does the supporters, that music?
Yeah, definitely. I'm in a tunnel first every week and I hear it going off. It's I think I used to have it as my ringtone, but I thought it was a little bit cheesy when it used to go off in the middle of the whole centre, so
yeah,
people looking at me, but no, it does. I know it does all the boys like, it does get us going.
And does it when it goes for such a significant game, like the last home game against Crystal Palace, like Wednesday night, does that add to it further, or is it the same feeling irrespective of the game?
Yeah, of course it adds to it. I mean, the how big the games are is obviously different. You know, it makes you realise exactly how big the games are. You know, sometimes, you know, Christmas time the games are never going to be as big as at the end of the season. That's just as, you know, how it is, and you know how important the games have been of late. Does mean that there's been more pressure on the lads and on the results.
You've come a long way in 6 years, haven't you?
Yeah, 6 years I have come a long way. Yeah, definitely. But I think it was one that I could kind of, you know, not if anyone could look into the future, then you know you can't exactly do that. But you know, this is the way I kind of wanted it to be, and I knew this is the way Hull City was going to go. It's just whether or not I was going to be here for the 6 years along with it.
How well are you sleeping?
Fine. Yeah, I know I'm trying to play it down. I always do promotions and whatnot that I've had over the previous years, but I just try and, you know, be the same if we lose and if we win. Like, you know, it's my job at the end of the day. But
in a world where footballers, certainly at the very top of the game, are accused of caring less, then when you say something like that you're sleeping okay and, you know, you treat it because you're a professional, and that sort of gladdens the heart, doesn't it? Because you want to be successful. You don't just want to be a good professional. You want to be a professional with something to show for it.
Yeah, of course. I want to be a professional with, you know, with things that I can look back on in 20 years and say I've achieved something. You know, and the promotions here have made me do that. But you know, there'd be nothing better than leading the team out of Wembley and achieving our goal on Saturday.
How's the training going to be this week, the final training? Is it deliberately been made identical to any other week?
Yeah, Gaffer's, you know what I mean, he's been around teams that have been to Wembley. Nobby has got a wealth of experience. Parky's there, you know, he's got experience too. They've had a meeting this morning. We just want to try and keep it as normal and as low-key as we possibly can, like any other week. You know, the boys, we're our creatures of habit, unfortunately. You know, that's just the way we are, it's the way we like it. He's asked the lads if that's how we want it to be this week, and everyone said yeah. You know, no one's getting carried away down there. We know there's a job to do, and we've got to try and be as professional as possible this week, although it's difficult with a lot of what's going on outside the club, but we can't deal with that. We can only try and deal with, you know, the inner circle kind of thing.
The fact that you wear that armband and that you're the sort of character who is there to lead and inspire anyway means that part of the job is to make sure the players are ready and up for it. But who gets you up for it? Because sometimes you're going to have the nerves and you're going to need the reassurance. Yeah,
it's throughout a game. I've said this before. You need 11 captains out there. You know, I'm just the one who's lucky enough to have the armband at the end of the day, and maybe the biggest mouth, to be honest. So you know, maybe that's why I've got the armband. You know, I think sometimes if you know, there's that experience in there. There's Windass, there's Barnes, there's Brownie who's come in. You know, and if they can see things happening, that they'll come forward and say stuff and maybe have a little, you know, say stuff to me and help me. But you know, generally, I think that it's down to yourself to get yourself going, and it's within me to kind of put myself under the pressures that I want to put myself under and to get up for every game.
Have you ever played at Wembley before?
I have, yes. I was under 15s, and the pitch was massive. Yes, for England under 15s when I played for them against Denmark. We won 6-5 or something like that. But
who else was in that team?
Lee Bowyer,
right?
Lee Hendry, Davis from Bolton now, Danny Murphy, Fulham, David Thompson, who's just retired.
Quite a cast list, isn't it?
Yeah, that year there was quite a big list really that are still playing to this day. I've got pictures at home. And frame shirts and stuff that some of the boys that there have still made some decent appearances in the Premier League.
There is some Wembley experience in this side. I mean, you just pointed that out. Nicky Barmby played his first game for Wembley as an England schoolboy, and of course went on to play there for England as well. And Andy Dawson's already won one playoff campaign in his career, so you know there's
Yozza, I think Yozza's had a couple.
He won the League Cup and got into a playoff final as well, and he didn't win the League Cup. He got to a League Cup final and won a playoff final. So there's plenty there, isn't there?
Well, yeah, that's what.
Does it actually help, or does it not? Particularly as it wasn't this Wembley as well.
Well, when I was at Cambridge, we got to a Cardiff LDV final. You know, I'd never played there before, but I just think you've got to try and take everything in and just relax yourself, and you know. This is what you play football for. It's a massive game, you know, and some players don't go through this in their whole career. But you've got to try and keep a lid on it and keep it. There's going to be nerves about it, but it's how people deal with them nerves that's important to us really. But yeah, it's got to help, hasn't it? To go through emotions and to go through experiences, like that in life. Then it's got to help the next time you go through them.
Have you been to the new Wembley?
No, I've never been. No, my in-laws live literally walking distance from there. They live in North London, and you can see it. And every time we go down there,
are they putting you up on Friday night?
Yeah, they're putting me up. Yeah, they said they'd put a couple of the lads up. To be fair, but I think the lads want to stay in a nice posh hotel.
Mm. But you're going to go to the family?
No, I'm with the boys, mate.
Right, yeah. Okay, they're going to put your family up maybe. While
yeah,
you stay
they're going to do that. Yeah, they're going to put
Yeah.
their cars on the drive and walk down to Wembley.
To go there as captain of a club that's one of the most famous for being starved of success in its lifetime, and the Premier League in sight. I mean, this isn't what MK Dons have just done, for example, by winning the Football League trophy. Nice as that would have been in those days in those divisions. This is the biggest final that you and probably anyone else will ever play in.
Yeah, it's massive.
Go on.
It's a massive final. It's not like it's not like you just said that kind. If we'd have done it when we got promoted through the playoff games, then obviously it's a big achievement. But there's none bigger than this to try and get Hull City into the Premier League, and money reasons obviously make it a lot bigger. You get a lot more money for getting into the Premier League. So it's as big as games are going to get, I think.
Mm. Once it was obvious that the playoffs were going to be our route to promotion, and of course that wasn't really obvious until probably the second half against Ipswich. Well, I mean, Leicester, it was possible, but once Ipswich scored, it was less likely that we were going to...
I think we were relying on other people, and I don't like to do that really as football. I think if you're relying on other teams, then it's too late for you. It's like I'm a Birmingham fan and we were relying on other teams on the last day, but for me it was too late. Mm. I think Sheffield maybe was the one that kind of,
I would say,
in my opinion, I don't think you should. If you're relying on other people in a season, then it's too late.
That was the turnaroround, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Automatic promotion was in your hands before Sheffield United, and was taken out of your hands after Sheffield United.
Yeah, of course it was. Yeah,
and it didn't change after that, even though Stoke couldn't win on the last day. But do you feel aggrieved by that, or ultimately, do you think that teams end up where they deserve?
Yeah, I think teams end up where they deserve. Obviously, we deserve, when we have promotions, we deserve to be second, and we went up second, we didn't go up as champions, and we deserve to be third this year. On not just the Sheffield game. There's been games where at home, for me, the Colchester and the Blackpool games where we drew at home, for me, were massive games where we should be winning them at home if we were going to go up as first or second. So for me, I look back at them games and think that was where we could have done better and should have done better to get points. And at the time, this is where I'll look back to and realise this is the time when we lost the points.
I suppose the way I look back at it is, the argument against that, of course, is that Stoke's type of football isn't the most pretty in the world, and I know that you kind of roll your eyes at that, and I know that ultimately styles of football are what you make of them, and if you get results, then who's to say you're wrong? And also, City won well at West Brom. And therefore, and those are the two that have gone up. But ultimately, they've done it elsewhere. It's not because of the results against those two, is it? It's because of other results.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I think we've performed decent all season really, and picked up some good results. And to go to West Brom, like you said, and win there, there's not many teams that have done that. So we were doing something right. We just, maybe some games we could have done a little bit better. Maybe Blackpool on the telly early start of the season. Now I know that them games are so far away. People might be thinking, but it matters when you're trying to put points to get into the top two. And I think that's the same as the previous promotions that we had. There's games where I look back and thought we should have done better there, because it will count at the end of the season. When you
look at the squad that you're captain of, irrespective of what other teams do you look at that squad and think that squad was good enough to finish in the top two?
Yeah. I do, yeah, I do. I think West Brom were by far the best footballing team in the division. I think we've played Stoke, and we've played Stoke off the park at their place and drew. Was it John Barnes' goal?
Yeah,
maybe.
No, that was last season. No, Caleb on New Year's Day.
Yeah, that's I think there hasn't been a team that I thought
we didn't lose to Stoke at all, because they drew ours as well.
Yeah, I've not looked at any teams this year, and that's no disrespect to any teams, and thought, wow, they were very good. I think West Brom, at our place and even down at their place, had a lot more possession, and they moved the ball well, and I could see that our grit, determination, fitness got us through that game.
Got a question here from Greg, who's just texted us in. It's 87103, by the way, if you'd like to text. KCFM, followed by your question for Ian Ashbee, is with us until 8 o'clock. He says, do you notice any change in the players in having to prolong the season? In other words, of the players showing any sign of fatigue or anything like that since Ipswich, and thinking, oh, well, we've got to do it for another fortnight now? Yeah,
there was signs of fatigue before Ipswich. There's no getting away from the fact that it's been a long, hard season. Like, you know, it is for everybody, you know, and we've got a decent squad together now that people have come in and done it equally as well and gone back out, and it's difficult. But you know, the gaffer in training, to be fair, at the start of the season and during the middle of the season, like the trip to Dubai, people questioned, a lot of things like that happened. But he's training over the last, say, month and care of us. He's pretty much wrapped us in cotton wool and just done whatever, you know, the players really feel like they need. Some players, like myself, you know, I'm 31. Dean Windass is a completely different kettle of fish. Barnes is the same. JJ's the same. You know, they might need rest days, whereas, you know, youngsters like Dean Marnie chomping at the bit to train every day. So it's very much a balance, really, and the gaffer's got a difficult job in trying to keep everyone sweet.
You mentioned that trip to Dubai. I mean, essentially that worked because he came back, albeit Coventry was a little bit fortunate towards the end, but it was still a victory, and then went to Plymouth and won and had a good February. But then there was that 2 weeks off forced by Barnsley getting into the FA Cup semi-final, and that was more of a problem, really, wasn't it? He didn't really come out fighting after that so much.
No. I think these kind of trips are always going to be.
And when it's nothing to do with you, when you haven't got a choice, we haven't got a fixture. What are we going to do? I mean, you could have just stewed at home, couldn't you? Do something as a team, I suppose.
Yeah, no. You know, the gaffer's a big believer in getting the boys together. You know, that our team spirit this season's been magnificent. Like, you know, and we pride ourselves on that, and, you know, we do get together, and the gaffer's seen it fit that we was going to go away. Now, if we were going to go away to Blackpool, would anybody have a moan up at it? Probably not, because it's Dubai. People think, oh, what they're going there for? You know, but we're out there, and it's not a holiday camp. We are training as hard as, well, probably harder here, because obviously people probably feel a little bit more guilty about going away. But we trained. I'd called it a mini pre-season when we was over there.
I mean, you and I mean, not just you. I mean, you're the one. I don't know whether you've heard the new song of the.
No, somebody texted me the other day.
The 3 times song of Ian Ashbee's going to do it 3 times. I know that we've got some audio of it in our newsroom. We might be able to sort that out. But it's not just you, of course. If all goes well on Saturday and then you play next season in the Premier League, then there's Andy Dawson as well. There's Bose Myhill. There's possibly Ryan France. I mean, those you're the 4 survivors. How do you equate for the fact that so many of you have survived this long? With the best will in the world, you were in that division at the beginning because
you were them players.
Exactly. But you know, it's the progress of you as players as well as the club as a whole, isn't it?
Well, you're experienced, you know, helps, doesn't it? You know what I mean? I think you when you get older, you get wiser. You look at life differently, don't you? You know, Peter Taylor's no mug, is he? He brought Andy Dawson. He's brought people for the Championship. I always remember him used to saying that when I used to have meetings with him. Colin Murphy used to say they're trying to get people in for the Championship. Now, when you say that
was this
level,
while you were still in the bottom division?
Yeah,
right.
They said they brought them players in for that reason. By a mile, but Colin Murphy went as far as to say that he'd play for England one day at that time. He's not said it this season. Peter Taylor was the same.
Now, of course, but he's playing international football. It's essentially the same thing.
You know what I mean? That's what they used to say. I've brought these players not for this year, but for next. So, you know, credit's got to go to them really for them. But with new managers coming in, people want their own players in, don't they? And it's you know, it's a lot of players do go, especially at this football club. I've always said that. I think the clubs, you know, they get rid of people sharpish like.
There's been quite a high turnover of players, hasn't there, since you joined? I mean, you've got a book in front of you that I'm going to point a photograph out of, but we'll do that after we've taken a short breather. Ian Ashbee, captain of Hull City in Wembley week, is with us on KCFM Sports Call through until 8 o'clock this evening. And Reese is on the phone. Hello, Reese.
Hello.
Hiya, Reese. Ian Ashbee's listening. You got a question for him?
Yes.
Hi, Reese.
I wanted to say, who are you going to room with in the hotel when you go to Wembley?
Who's he going to room with when you get in the hotel at Wembley?
I always room with Dean Marnie.
Right.
I'll room with. I do the rooms, to be honest, with the list of boys. I'll go in with Brian Orton, and the boys always like to be together. You know, obviously the boys always stay the same. Some of them like to have singles, but I don't like to stay on my own too often. I get scared of the dark, Reese. So I room with Dean Marnie, and I just bully him really. I make me cups of tea whenever I want a cup of tea, or ring down for room service. So he gets bullied by me.
Are you going to Wembley, Reese?
No, I'm not. I'll be in Egypt.
Oh, well, Egypt or Wembley, it's a tough choice, isn't it? You'll be able to get a telly over there, though, to watch it, won't you?
Yep.
Well, if you get your dad to take his laptop with him, then you'll be able to listen to KCFM's commentary online as well, probably, all right?
Yeah.
Thanks for the question, Reese. All the best.
Bye.
See you, Reese.
That's Reese, who is in West Hull. Just on the question of Dean Marnie, of course, he's injured at the moment. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to ask, expect you to come in with injury news. That's not your job. But if it doesn't go well for him, then that will be a calamity for the lad, won't it? And if you're in the same room as him, then you're going to be the one who has to pick him up, which is your job anyway as captain, but even more so because you're in the same room. Yeah,
I think I've sort of not took Dean under my wing, but you know, he's a young lad, and I think he can I can probably help him. To be fair, like you said, he'll be truly upset if he doesn't make it. To be fair, I'll do room with him on how much he cares and how much he wants it and how much it means to him. So we've just got to wait and see how he settles down, and what'll be at the end of the day.
We've got Paul on the phone as well. Paul, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi, Paul. Ian Ashbee's listening. What's your question? What do you want to say?
Yeah, I'd like to ask Ash, who of the team identified as the biggest dangers to winning on Saturday?
In Bristol City's team?
Well, we've not done any kind of work on it yet. We all get like a sheet, and the gaffer goes up on the board and says who's dangers and stuff. But there's Trundle's a decent boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Macindow's obviously from his Doncaster days.
It's Trundle's left foot that worries me, that's all.
Yeah, we've got, he's got...
It's odd because we haven't really seen Trundle in either of the games against us. He came on as a sub at Bristol, and I don't think he was involved at all in the home game.
I don't think he's played many games. Well, I don't know if he's played many games. I think most of them have been from the subs bench. But obviously, we know he's got quality, and his left foot is... but we know that he tries to work it onto his left foot, so, we've got some decent defenders there at the back, so hopefully they can keep him in check.
Keep him on his right foot.
Yeah.
Keep him on his right foot, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think, Paul? What are your feelings about Saturday?
Me, I've never been so confident. I've never been so confident.
No
I think
pressure
we've
there,
got so much class and ability, and if we play our A or B game, I just can't see any way that we're not going to win.
Do you have any concern? I've got to play devil's advocate here. Do you have any concern, Paul, that we haven't actually beaten Bristol City this season?
Don't mean a thing. Don't mean a thing.
Do you go along
But
with that?
what happened in the league doesn't mean a jot. The only worry I have is Trundle's left foot.
Right.
Because he can curl him in from nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. Trundle's, we haven't beat him in the season, but like you said, I don't think it doesn't worry us, and it's even more so that we can go and beat him. Then, can't we? If we haven't beat him yet, we'll beat him.
Absolutely, the time is right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Paul, thanks very much.
No worries.
Cheers, Paul.
Paul, if you want to do likewise, what Paul and Reese have just done, put a question to the Hull City captain, and then it's 01482 333 998. It's 01482 333 998. You can text KCFM followed by your question to 87103. Text to 25p plus what you normally pay. sportscrawl@kcfm.co.uk is the email address. We'll go through some texts and emails a little bit later. I found something, a couple of things that I want you to look at. One is in front of you, which we'll come up to shortly. But first of all, I found something on the Sky Sports website that's dated. It was, the dates disappeared actually on this version. It was all right on my computer at home. But anyway, I'll read you the introduction. Great photograph as well.
Yeah.
The race to sign Cambridge United's out-of-contract midfielder Ian Ashbee has heated up, with Chesterfield joining ambitious Division 3 outfit Hull City, Northampton Town and Oxford United in the chase for the former Derby County trainee. So when you joined us, you could have gone to Northampton, you could have gone to Chesterfield. Blah, blah, 2 or 3 paragraphs later, Ashbee said, I know Hull are still very interested and I've been offered 3 years while the others have offered 2. I live in London at the moment, so it's a long way to go with my family. Presumably now, not a single regret that you might have expressed back then.
No, I never regret anything that I do. It's a learning curve, and I just kind of came up here and got a feeling for it. It kind of reminded me of Birmingham a little bit, with around the city when we came up, and I was, the ground was a big pull, as it was for a lot of players at that time, and the chairman Adam Pearson obviously said all the right things and meant it. So it was. There was never any doubt in my mind, really.
If you'd stayed at Cambridge, you'd be in the conference. If you'd gone to Chesterfield, you'd have been in the mid. Assuming you'd stayed there, of course, you'd have been in the middle of the lowest division. Northampton, you'd have been in League One, and of course, if you joined Oxford, you'd have also gone down to the conference. So methinks that you made the right choice for those. For those, it's easy to be wise after the event. Of course it is. But methinks even back then, you probably had potential on your mind, didn't you? Particularly as you would have been 25, 26 at the time, and possibly looking for the deal to take you into your 30s. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, like you said, the potential of this football club was massive. And players look at that, don't they? And I knew that this was a massive club when I came up. It had a few dark years previously before I came, and I knew there's only kind of one way it wanted to go, and I wanted to be part of that. There's no question if I could help in any way, shape or form, I was going to give it everything I had to help, and luckily enough, it's stood me in good stead so far.
Picture of a clean-shaven Ian Ashbee in a Cambridge United kit with C&R windows on the front. The other thing I want you to look at, you've got in front of you, that's Mike Peterson's book, A Century of City, and on there is the first ever team shot that you were involved in, pre-season team, after you joined under Jan Molby in the summer of 2002. You're either side of Matt Glennon and Matt Bloomer.
Yeah, I think Bloomer texted me the other day, actually. I didn't have his number, but he just said Blooms at the end, so I think it was him. I don't know anyone else. That's changed, hasn't it? I mean, the background's changed for one with the Boothry Park in the background, but looking at the players on there now, it's definitely changed. massive amounts.
There's none of them left, because Stuart Elliott and Stuart Green and Damien Delaney have all... Well, Damien Delaney joined under Peter Taylor, of course, but they've gone, and Ryan France and Andy Dawson with Peter Taylor. You're the only Molby signing left.
Yeah, Rod Arnold's still there at the ground doing tours, I think, on a Saturday. And
does some KCFM commentary for us.
Does he? Well. And Mick's there because he's the drugs boys who come down and find whether we've been on drugs or not. And funny enough, they keep turning up to us.
The dope testing, yes.
The dope testing, he turns up for them, so... he's still left.
But, again, I'm just taking the book off here because it's an indication of, again, how far you and the club have come. Looking at that photograph of short back and sides as well.
Yeah.
But like I say, Matt Glennon, who's at Huddersfield now, I don't know where Matt Bloomer is these days, and you got on that same middle row, you've got Justin Whittle, who was skipper at the time, Paul Musselwhite, Steve Burton, and, of course, Neil Mann, who is, of course, still associated with the club. But, that was the level that the club was at. That was the level of player with respect to most of them that you were playing with. Yeah. And you're the one who essentially is the survivor.
Yeah. Well, what can I say? I think I'm not saying I've earned it, but I've worked hard to get where I am today. I'm not saying them players haven't worked hard.
No.
I've been lucky. Managers have come in and liked me for what reason I don't know. You'll have to ask them. You'll have to ask them themselves.
Well, they've all kept. Molby made you captain, and the rest have kept you as captain.
Yeah, well, Greg Strong was initially brought in to be captain, I think, from Motherwell, was it? Maybe?
Yeah, that's right.
He was at Bolton and that.
Justin Whittle was captain initially, and he was captain previous year before you joined. But
I still speak to Judd, a lot. To be fair, and Greg was brought in, and kind of by chance, Jan Molby kind of made me captain. So, and then Peter Taylor took over
and the rest is history. And the progress really started 6 years on, and you're close to fulfilling what is a whole city's dream, a dream that the fans of all the generations that have watched the club have had. When you look back at 2002 and you joined under Jan Molby, assuming that was... you've talked about players being prepared for the Championship, for example, but do you think that Premier League dream back in 2002 was realistic? And if so, was it realistic in your playing life?
I would have said no at the time. Without a shadow of a doubt, I would have said no. You're only as good as what league you're playing in, aren't you? And at that time, we was in the bottom tier, and we was good enough for that league. So Jan Molby thought. But like I said, the club and me personally have come on and leaps and bounds with the club,
and with the city as well.
And with the city, yeah, I've got.
You've laid down roots here now, haven't you?
Cool. I've got, my son was born. My son's from Hull, born in Hull.
Is he going to grow up with a Hull accent, or with a very broad West Midlands accent?
He's got a kind. I'm trying to teach him a few little things, but obviously he goes to nursery here now. If I'm still here, he'll obviously go to school and whatnot. So, I've got roots here.
I like the idea of a combination of a black country accent and a Hull accent. Where's your wife from?
She's from London.
Oh, of course, yeah, because you said the in-laws are there.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute, has she still got a London accent?
So he says a few things like a Cockney does, but every word he says like a Cockney, I'll pull him in the other room and tell him how he's supposed to say it.
Right, in a West Midlands accent or in a Hull accent?
Well, I've got to turn him myself as well now, so...
Yeah, okay. The point I'm going to make on this is that many great Hull City players of the past have stuck around the area after they finished playing, whether they finished playing with Hull City or not. Some have moved on to other clubs and then laid down their post-career roots down here. And I mean guys like you who aren't initially from the area. I mean, have you embraced the city in that sense, in that you're looking beyond, you can look beyond your playing career and still think I could hang around here?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. I definitely don't want to go back to London. There's no question about that. I don't want to go back down there. It's not bad for a weekend to go and see a show and stuff, but I'll never live down there again. Birmingham will probably get myself into too much trouble. So yeah, I'm more than happy to stay in.
I'm not going to let that one pass. Why would you get too much trouble if you went into Birmingham?
Well, I've not been there I've not lived there for 10 years, so all my friends will be wanting me to go back, and every time I go back, they'll probably want me to go out, and then I'll end up getting myself divorced, won't I? So.
But I mean, you're a Birmingham fan, but you're Black Country, aren't you? So
well, I am actually a Brummie. I'm not a Black Country. I'm just near there. I'm not from.
I thought you were just on the sort of periphery of the Black Country, but because otherwise people would be saying, well, why aren't you supporting Wolves or Walsall?
I don't support West Brom, anyone like that.
Right, fair enough. I mean, is it when you've got so much to concentrate on the club that you play for? Can you look at Birmingham City's relegation and still feel gutted?
Yeah, I was wounded. To be fair, as any fan would be wounded, but I've been here so long now. It's kind of, I'm a Hull fan first before I'm a Birmingham City fan, and I'm more than happy at that really. And I was gutted when they went down.
I'm going to slick your headphones back on, Ian, because we've got yet another caller for you. Ken is on the phone. Good evening, Ken.
Good evening.
Good evening, Ken. Ian Ashbee's listening. What have you got to ask him?
Yeah, Ian, good evening to you.
Good evening, mate.
First of all, my congratulations as a season ticket holder on behalf of all the supporters for the sterling example that you set as captain, not just this season, but ever since you came to the club. My question is this. I, along with many other people, joined the queues at 6 o'clock on Saturday morning, and my question is, are you and all the players switched on to the desire, passion and commitment for success that's driving the supporters in the city? And, I mean, you must have heard 38,000 tickets gone over the weekend. It's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant. The boys, I can honestly say, appreciate every kind of bit of money that you spend to come and watch us week in, week out, when we lose, when we win. The boys are very appreciative of that, and, you know, on behalf of the lads, I'll try to thank, you know, them when I'm on air or I do pieces with papers and stuff, because, you know, it means a lot to the boys to be there, and, you know, I think you can see that the boys do care. You know, there's been a few people over the past few years in certain, you know, players that people used to say they don't care, but I know I've been here long enough now, and I know that everybody who's on that training ground week in, week out is does care about this football club and the city and the fans.
You won't be short of support on Saturday.
No. That's another reason why I first came, because of the support. And
it was all about potential 6 years ago. This is about the potential being fulfilled, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. I mean, you know, you've got 38,000 tickets gone within 4 days. You know.
Interestingly, just as another point now, I don't know whether this is true, but I read in one of the quality papers today that Bristol City have asked for more tickets.
I think we may well end up doing that as well.
Yeah.
I think there are more tickets available, because I think with the 90,000 capacity there will be tickets available if required by the clubs, but that's up to the clubs to do.
It is. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt we can sell an awful lot more.
I don't think there is either, do you?
No, definitely not. I mean, I'm still getting phone calls left, right and centre from people friends who I've not spoken to for 2 years.
Yeah. Well, I know that the club. I know that the odd ex-player has been ringing up the club as well, but that's another matter entirely. Do you remember? I mean, let's just, Ken, I need to move on a little bit, but just let me ask you. I mean, if you remember the Challenge Cup final of 1980, what the ghost city was like that we had then, when both clubs got to Wembley that day, can you imagine what it's going to be like with 36,000 Hull City fans all leaving the area, the exodus? It's a good day for the wife to go shopping, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, the M1's going to be busy. You're going to have the Doncaster and Leeds supporters going up for the weekend, plus all the people from the M1's going to be very busy.
I think that's why Tiger Travel and 100 Tiger Travel coaches plus the special trains as well. Ken, we're going to have to leave it there, but thank you very much indeed for the call. That's Ken. If you want to do likewise, it's 01482 333 998, or you can text us or email. I'll give you those details shortly. This season, Ash, what were your hopes for it back in August, given the narrow squeak of last year?
Well, first and foremost, we finished fourth from bottom because we deserved to finish fourth from bottom last year. You know, it was a difficult one, really, because people came in and invested. The manager had big ideas. You know, obviously last year, people he didn't know if he was going to get the job, whether what was going to go on. But obviously when he got the full reins of the club and the backing of the chairman and some of the players he brought in, I kind of knew that there was going to be only one way we were going to go. It's just whether, you know, how far we were going to go. I think people kept saying we'll just have a mediocre season, stay middle of the table. But I think it became apparent quite quick that we had a little bit more than that in the tank, really.
And the gaffer, I mean, we've seen that with one or two of the departures from the club, he's got a ruthless streak, but, and unlike a lot of gaffers, I think, he can be the good guy as well, can't he?
Well, that's the thing, you've got to have a balance, innit? You can't, there's no way you can be in a football club trying to manage 30 egos, trying to, you know, let everyone be happy, because there's only going to be 11 people happy at this football club on a Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock. So, you know, that's a difficult job in itself, and like you said, he's got a ruthless streak, we've all seen it, you know, and you've got to say full credit, because as a manager of a football club, you have to have that in you. But on the other side, he's got his door's always open for all the boys to go and say whatever they feel. He'll never hold it against you if you do say, I don't agree with this, or, you know, he always kind of interacts with us, and that's what we think, as opposed to just saying, you're doing this.
He speaks highly of you as a player, but also as a leader. I mean, from your point of view, do you think it's natural leadership that you've always had? Or when you were a kid playing at Derby and then moved to Cambridge, were you helped along by the captains you played under in your career?
I did. I played with Paul Williams at Derby, and I made me my debut as a 17-year-old, and I have to say, people like him and Craig Short were brilliant for me at that age. But I think at that age, you kind of just, you know, you don't really understand, and you just kind of listen to them quite. You know, when I went to Cambridge, it was a set of boys who were young, eager. We got promoted there. We got to a final there. You know, we had a good set of lads, all on like £400 a week, £500 a week, which is, you know, in football terms today, is nothing really. And I've never really had a captain. I think it must be just a thing that's within me or something that drives me on, really.
And what about Brian Horton? I mean, if the gaffer's both ruthless and the good guy, where does Brian Horton fit into all this?
He's all of them.
He's all of them as well,
he's all of them.
What has he brought to the dressing room?
He's brought experience. I think that's why the gaffer brought him in. He's somebody who's been at the club as well, and who's got the whole city close to their heart.
Do you think he has come in to an extent with one eye on the job that he wasn't able to complete 20 years ago? Do you think that's part of the reason?
No, I think that Nobby knows the gaffer's a strong man, and it's
to be part of a promotion experience with Hull City, not to take on the old job, but to be part of a promotion experience.
Yeah, I think so. Nobby's experienced, and I'm sure he'd have had a lot of offers. He's not going to take coming to Hull City lightly, and I think he's come in because he knows the gaffer wants to go somewhere. He knows the chairman wants to go somewhere, and the players they brought in, we want to go somewhere, and he's brought in all sorts of experience. We don't know as what kind of he says to the manager, because that's between them two. Yeah. But I'm sure without a shadow of a doubt, the gaffer turns to him a lot, and they're always whispering in each other's ear holes. So I don't suppose they're whispering sweet nothings, are they?
Because exactly. I mean, the point I was making was his first season he got promoted from the old third division, then came sixth in the division that City are now in. It was close, and of course, if there'd been playoffs in 1986, it was a year before they started, and City would have been in those playoffs. So again, and he was gone within a couple of years after a bad run, and so again, that was the point I'm making. Whether he thinks he has a job, even as an assistant manager, to finish from 20 years ago.
Yeah, I think he's as happy as Larry, to be honest with you, because of doing this. Maybe he didn't achieve it as a player here, but if he comes back and achieves it as a part of the staff, he'll be very very happy.
Your form's been particularly good in the latter half of this season. Would you agree that it's been better in the latter half than the former?
I've had this conversation with the manager. He said to me, people think that I've played better in the second half of the season. No, obviously people have their own opinions, and they're entitled to their own opinions. Now, I would look at going into the offices on a Monday where we've got every ball we've kicked, every metre we've ran, and look at that. And if I've looked at my start of the season and my second second half of the season, my averages, my passing completions haven't changed. So
I wonder what it is then, because I mean, the supporters of course don't have access to Prozo.
Of course they don't. No.
They just see what they see in 90 minutes with their
naked
eye. They see 90 minutes with the naked eye.
Now, maybe I've done a couple more. I've scored goals. I might have set a goal up more, and I've been probably more, going forward maybe. But for me, then I've not seen it that way this season for me.
Do you think it's fair to say then that when Ian Ashbee plays well, the team plays well? But at the same time, if you improve, then you improve because you've got better players around you.
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely. Yeah, you play with better players. You go and play golf with Tiger Woods, you're going to play better. You're going to try. You know what I mean? So
when you're playing alongside, I'm picking two names out of random here. If you're playing alongside Dean Marnie, it's better than playing alongside Junior Lewis with the best will in the world.
That's definitely a brilliant answer that you've just come up with there, to be honest. Yeah, of course, I do believe that. Yeah, the players you surround yourself with, the better you become.
For those who saw Junior Lewis at Bradford will say otherwise. You've played for 4 managers. You won 2 promotions, scored a few goals. You've had one serious injury, of course, and come back from criticism as well. It's not been dull, has it?
No, I think everything's. It's what you want out of a football career. I'm not going to forget it. I've been immensely proud of what I've achieved. Even through the people having bits of criticism at me. I think with all the new players coming in, I think there was only really one way that criticism was going to go, and it was to the captain who's been here for 5 years. So I'll take that, not a problem. I'm a big enough man to accept that. So yeah, it's not been dull, and I'm hoping there's a few more.
When you had that injury, I dare say you only had one ambition left, and that was to recover from it.
Yeah, definitely. It was that was, would I take playing 44 games and getting booed every week as opposed to never playing again? Yeah, of course I would. That's what it's about. I've got the best job in the world. But
it happened out of the blue as well. I don't know whether it happened out of the blue in reality, but to the team, you were playing. You'd started well, first season in the Championship under Peter Taylor. You'd had a couple of games with John Welsh and a couple of games alongside Keith Andrews, and things were looking all right. And then about 6 games in, suddenly, Ashbee's out for the season, career-threatening injury.
Yeah, I knew there was something wrong with my knee. To be honest, probably before we got promoted for the first time, I kind of was getting aches and maybe pains that I thought shouldn't be there. But in hindsight, I would never have had them promotions. Maybe if I'd have gone in and maybe had a look there. So it was just at the time I couldn't really carry on after that, and I had to go and get it checked out. It's like not going to the dentist. People don't want to go, you put it off, and that's exactly what it was like.
You've scored 2 goals lately, of course, and 3 for the season.
Well, 3, 4 maybe if you look at the Bristol away.
Are you still claiming that?
Well, I'll always try and claim it.
I don't think it's
pre-season friendlies do they come into it? Because I scored at Grimsby and at Stockport.
I don't think they do in terms of your actual stats.
Okay, then that's no problem.
I'm going for Blackpool away, Barnsley away, and Crystal Palace at home. Is that all right with you?
All right, and I'll go for Bristol City away,
as well.
Stockport away, Grimsby away.
But the 2 goals I was going to bring up, the Barnsley and Crystal Palace goals in recent weeks, important goals, towering headers. I mean, I was going to say so much for that seasonal goal that you've always scored. Yeovil, then Crystal Palace, and then it looked like it was going to be Blackpool this season, but suddenly out come those 2 headers. Yeah,
Gaffer says, every manager I've ever had has always says you've got to get more goals because, I'm 6'1", 6'2". I'm strong, I've got a good shot. I mean, I should be scoring more goals, but I just feel that I'd rather let other people take the limelight, and I'm just sitting there just trying to do my own little job. And that is, God's honest truth. I just think that in a team where we've got so many people who run forward, Stuart Elliott got 27, 28 goals that one season. Now, if I'd have bombed on as well, he might not have got 27 goals because, we'd have all had to track back. And to be fair to Stuart, he never used to track back once.
I don't suppose anybody's bothered that he never tracked back.
No, exactly, no, of course. But it's kind of legwork that I don't mind doing, and that's what I'm in the team for.
We just had to see him go, and Damien for that matter as well.
Yeah,
they are an end of an era, aren't they, when players like that go?
Yeah, I was sad for Stewie, and I was sad for Damien Delaney. I was close with Damien Delaney. I think he was a great lad. He's gone through every emotion, as I have at this football club. When he first came, I remember there was a lot of things being said and a lot of trouble going around. And I've seen Damien crying his eyes out in the corner. He used to sit next to me at the KC Stadium. Now, if somebody's crying like that, it means they care. And I knew he was always going to come good because he's a decent boy, he's strong, he's an athlete, and I'm sad to see them people go. Yeah, but life goes on, doesn't it?
Indeed. Let's look ahead against Saturday. As it gets closer, let's say we're 24 hours before now, it's Friday afternoon, what will become the main thing that you and the other players will be focusing on?
Changing our boxer shorts, probably. Well, it's mad because I think Friday we're going down and I'm looking at Wembley.
You're giving away there that they all wear boxer shorts. That'll something that intrigue people. Maybe there's a new line in Hull City boxer shorts with 4 Ashbee on the back of it, ready for next season.
Yeah, well, just let me know. But you've got to try and, like I said, try and keep it as low key and as relaxed as you would normally a normal game, because you don't want to be using all your energy and being nervous, and because you come on Saturday and you'll feel flat. So you've got to try and we're going to the KC. We're training at Arsenal's training ground, which is unbelievable. So them kind of things are good, and we trained there before we went down to Watford. So we are trying to keep it as low key as we possibly can.
When you get in that dressing room and you're getting ready, will you say anything to the lads prior to the match, or is that up to the gaffer or to Brian Horton? Or?
Yeah, that's the gaffer, and that's Nobby.
But some captains do. Tony Adams always used to, for example.
Yeah, but I don't think you probably see captains doing that now this day and age. I don't think so anyway. Not that I've ever heard or seen or anyone.
Have you never done
it? Only in the circles. I've never pipe up. Everyone that says their bit in the change room, but I'd never pipe up and make sure I was the only one who's talking. That's, there's, like I said, I think there should be 11 captains or 11 personalities out there.
On a general level, when you look at the supposedly more glamorous teams in the Championship, do you not think that Hull City versus Bristol City as a playoff final is really, really good for the Championship?
I think it's brilliant for the Championship, to be honest with you. You've got Wolves, who are a massive, massive club, in the Championship, for years and years.
Palace, Ipswich,
all the big clubs, and I think it's brilliant for the Championship. The Bristol City and Hull City are at Wembley playoff final for the Championship. So I think it's I think it's brilliant for the Championship.
Palace and Watford, the other 2 playoff teams, they are the ones who have the recent Premier League history. And I think, certainly from some of the stuff I read in the papers and whatever, people assume that the big game experience of those players at those clubs, with their recent history, would see them through.
Yeah, I don't. Obviously, I'm going to disagree with that. Obviously, because I'm playing for Hull.
Yeah.
It's okay to say them things in the press, or to try and play my games maybe with the other team if other team's going to read it. But it obviously hasn't stood them in good stead because they're not in the final and we are.
I'm going to slip your headphones on again. One last question for you. Jeff's on the phone. Hello, Jeff.
Good evening, lads.
Hello,
Good
Jeff.
evening.
Ian Ashbee's listening. What's your question for him?
Yeah, thank you. Good evening, Ash.
Evening,
Best
mate.
British look on Saturday, mate. I hope you do us proud.
Yeah.
The other thing is, if we do get through to the Premier League, do you think we'll make a better job of it than Derby did?
Yes.
Is it possible to do much worse than Derby?
I think people keep saying that Derby. Did they come into it sixth? They came into it. No,
they were third.
Were they?
They were third. I think they came top of the playoffs and won through. But nobody expects them to win the playoffs because they were on a poor run and should have gone up automatically.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think we can do a good job, and I think with the investment and kind of what the manager's got planned, we'll have to all wait and see what's going to go on. But I'm sure that we can. Do a better job than Derby.
Have you had any? I mean, do you have any? Given that that's where you were brought up, Derby County, have you had any affection for them since then? Do you look at what they did and feel any sorrow for them?
No,
you've obviously got that for Birmingham as your boyhood club.
Yeah, no, not at all for Derby really. It's that was early on in my career. I was 17, 18 when I left there, so I don't feel anything for them really.
Jeff, are you going on Saturday?
No, mate, no, I'm disabled. I'll be watching it in front of the television.
Right, make sure the best way to do it is to watch it on TV with radio commentary.
I will be doing that, mate. I will be doing it. It's a better commentary on radio than it is on TV in any case.
You're very kind, Jeff. I'm sure Alex Burgess will be grateful for that. Thank you very much.
Do it for us, Ash. Do it for us,
Cheers,
mate.
pal. We'll try our best for you, mate.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks for ringing. That's Jeff in Hull. Last couple of minutes then. If you win 3 promotions in 5 seasons, it's not just about this season in terms of your overall stats. It's a heck of a record that if it happens.
Yeah, if it happens, I'm not sure anyone's captained sides to do it.
That's the difference, I think.
Yeah. So I wasn't made aware of it until maybe a couple of weeks ago. I think Brendan did then a little stato down at the ground, made me aware of it. So.
People talk about Sean Davis at Fulham and about the lads at Wimbledon years ago, and also David Weatherall.
Yeah.
But I don't think any of them have been captain all the way through those promotions. Plus, David Weatherall did it the wrong way around. He started in the Premier League and went backwards.
Yeah.
But it's still playing in all 4 divisions for the same club, which is still a good start. But the fact that you've done it going the right way and with the armband on all the way through, it would be a heck of an achievement.
Yeah, it's
history.
It's history, and to be part of Hull City's history in years and years to come will make me very proud if I can do it. Such as the old boys from years ago that people still love and talk about around the city today. So if I can be talked about in 20, 30 years, then I'll be immensely proud.
Well, there's loads of history already this season. First trip to Wembley, first £1 million player, record attendance at the KC as well.
Yeah, but you'll remember going up, won't you? You'll always remember a captain who's captained the side for the promotions. In 5 years, that's the kind of thing I want to be remembered for, not being £1 million player.
They always say that, I don't know what the new Wembley's like, they always said at the old Wembley that, particularly for the captain, because he was the one who was at the front of the row, and therefore the fans saw him first, and that's when the noise from the support is at its loudest, because they see the captain at the front and then the rest of the team obviously come out. That noise is going to hit you, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to hit me, but I know it will hit me. But it's what his dreams are made of, isn't it? I'm sure the hairs on the back of my neck will be standing up, and I'd love to bottle that emotion and sell it, because I'm sure people would want it. But I'm lucky enough to lead the team out, and I'll be trying to savour every moment of that emotion, really.
Ash, you'll have the last laugh when you pick up the winner's trophy at Wembley. Yeah, there's a trophy as well, isn't there, which you don't get for finishing second, for example. But anyway, and I'll have a tear rolling down my cheek. I'll be there to see it. It says Terry listening online in Sussex. So there you go. That's just one example of the sort of support of 36,000 people at the ground, plus many thousands more watching on the TV and beyond.
Yeah, brilliant.
Can't wait.
Can't wait for it.
Is it something that... Is it more looking forward or more nervous?
I'm looking forward to it. But obviously there's going to be nerves, but I think nerves are good. I'm nervous before we go and play Colchester away, because that's just how I am, but you've got to try and settle them nerves and cope with them nerves, and I think on the day it'll be who controls them nerves quicker. Well,
as somebody who's watched Hull City for 21 years and remembers the Great Escape and the padlocks on the gates, I, for one, am certainly wishing you all the very best for Saturday, as well as the many thousands of others. Thanks for coming in.
Cheers, pal. Thank you.
Ian Ashbee with us on Sports Call, and the next Hull City-related Sports Call will be a rather big chairman's night. Paul Duffin with Phil Brown and Brian Horton. That's on Thursday.